Space syntax is an approach to predicting human behavior that harnesses the power of data and algorithms. We combine that with direct observations of human behavior, and we bring this learning into the design process to bring a greater level of science and rigor to the process of creative design.
From a neuroscientific perspective, there are many different elements that influence people's life and well-being in urban environments. Some studies show that people who were born and raised in rural contexts have more capabilities to cope with stressful events compared to those who were born and raised in urban settings. The reasons for this are not clear yet, but one hypothesis is the fact that when we live in very crowded areas, urban settlements, we are forced to adjust constantly our behavior to live with people that we don't know, to people that are for us strangers, and this impacts on our well-being.
Environmental stress is what happens when the space around you makes things harder than it needs to be. So for example, you're at an airport, you're trying to walk through, and you need to sit down and find a place to relax. One of the biggest problems that you find is you can't move the chair. It's kind of cold over there, but you can't really regulate the temperature. And you're kind of in the middle of all of this noise in that space. So this lack of control, this sort of discomfort, this subtle tension that underlays your life, that is what is called environmental stress.
When we design spaces that are going to be experienced, we have to consider also the effect that the space is going to have on the users. So this means, for example, knowing how the brain supports navigation, or, for example, which are the architectural dimensions that are going to govern our response to environmental stress. So to do this, we need to merge different disciplines, and the project that we are going to present tonight is a proof of this. We really believe in cross-contamination. So we are here tonight because we were able to connect neuroscience, cognitive science, space syntax, and our computational approach.
Architecture is a creative process. It involves imagination, it involves sensitivity to human behavior. And for all of those reasons, having an element of science, of data, is something that enhances the creative process. And so rather than take anything away from the architect, it adds to the architect and helps them to become even more creative. What we do as an organization is to work alongside other architects and work in partnership to not only test ideas, but offer ways in which those ideas could be even more effective in delivering the goals of the design.
A science-driven design can allow us to create spaces that are more sustainable from a social point of view, because thanks to neuroscience and psychology, we can foresee the effects that architectural components and urban environments will have on people. And this also allows us to create spaces that are more attractive from an economic point of view for investors.
To relieve or to mitigate environmental stress, it's important to design with humans rather than against humans, So what you have to do is you need to start making spaces far more intuitive in terms of their layout, try to provide acoustic control so that people can reduce and change the levels of sound within the space. Also at the same time, try to provide natural sufficient lighting so that there isn't poor lighting inside the space. All of these factors essentially will lead up to reducing environmental stress within the spaces that you inhabit.
A project comes from the architect intuitions, and the design choices are the results of his experience, but also external conditions. But we don't want to stop here. We know that the future is a data-driven approach, so that's why we want to apply another level of analysis and measurement to be able to quantify the quality of the design choices. And this we try to do it through an iterative process that aims to reach the best solution that best fits all the requirements, but at the same time is the most objective one.
The future applications of space syntax involve first AI, harnessing the ability of algorithms to generate new designs automatically, which is important for bringing the creative process of design to communities that don't have access to architects. So through satellites and through tablets, we can provide automated architecture using AI. And then I think the other future direction is through training, to share the knowledge that we've generated over many years now directly into practice to make it possible for architects to be hands-on with the space syntax approach.